Okay, example number 2, we're going to find the trigonometric values for special angles. Okay, so we already kind of talked about these triangles, the 45, 45, 90, 30, 60, 90. And so we want to find the exact values. That means leave it as a fraction, don't use a calculator. We want to find the 6 trigonometric functions for this angle 5 by 4. So number 1, we want to find reference angle. So find the reference angle. So we're dividing pi by 4. So it is the reference angle would be pi fourths. Okay, which is a 45 degrees. Okay, so that means I'm looking at a 45. My r is equal to 1. So I'm on a 45, 45, 90. Okay, so that means my sides are root 2 over 2 and a root 2 over 2. So that means both my x and my y are the same thing, right? So if I'm finding cosine, like we said in the last example, now what we want to do is we just want to find the 6 trig functions. Find six trig functions based on our angle. Okay, so there we just say, okay, sine of theta, it's a 45. So sine, you can pick an angle, it's the same angle, an opposite, right, over hypotenuse, or just your y value, because y over r would just be y, because our radius is 1. So we get root 2 over 2. Then the reciprocal of that would be flipping that, right? So cosecant, if I can write it correctly, cosecant of theta. Okay, or actually you should probably write 45, but we'll get there, of our angle. We'll put that back in there. Okay, that would be flipping that, so that would be 2 over root 2. We'll rationalize that, and we get 2 over 2, right? Because root 2 times root 2 is 2, so these would cancel, and I would just get root 2. Okay, so then cosine of our angle would be the exact same. So cosine of our angle, but I'm just going to leave that blank for now, that angle, because we're going to put it back in, of 45 is just root 2 over 2. And then its reciprocal would be the same. Secant of an angle equals root 2. Now tangent's it's actually, it might look a little difficult, but tangent is y over x. So that would be this one, y over x. Well, what's the same thing divided by the same thing? Root 2 over 2 divided by root 2 over 2. It looks complicated, but that's the same thing on top, same thing on bottom. So the answer is 1. So tangent of our angle, tan of our angle is equal to 1. And flip that. Here you go, cotangent of our angle is still 1. So there's all 6. So that was based on a 45, our reference angle. So those are all the answers for sine of 45, cosine of 45, tangent of 45. But now we want this one, 5 pi fourths. So we want 5 pi fourths. So the only thing I have to do to change this is really just look at what quadrant would I be in, right? What quadrant would I be in? And then I look to see, all students take calculus, to see if it's a positive or negative. Okay, so the angle is 5 pi fourths for all these. Well, where is 5 pi fourths? What quadrant is it in? Well, I'm counting by fourths, right? What do I know from right here to right here is? Isn't that 180, which is the same as pi? Isn't pi the same as 4 pi over 4? Right, so it's cutting this distance into fourths, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so if I'm going to 5 pi fourths, isn't 5 pi fourths just another pi fourths past 180? Right, so I'd be in the third quadrant. Well, in the third quadrant, sine is negative, so that means its reciprocal is. Cosine is also negative because I'm to the left, right? In the third quadrant, I'm to the left, so my x is negative, and I'm down, so my y is negative. So this would also be negative because its reciprocal is. And then tangent's a negative y value divided by a negative x value is actually positive. So these two are positive. So then the third step would just be to find the quadrant you're in. Find the quadrant and label positive or negative. Your answer is positive or negative. Okay, so that's it for example number 2.